answer this one, sir?
Yes, sir.
Students, they are joining when they want. Time up. Already cross the.
Yes, sir. We can start, sir.
Ah, okay. Shall I start now?
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Uh, Very good afternoon to all. On behalf of Rattan Group of Institutions and Institution Innovation Council, Rattan College of Arts and Science, I'm very happy to welcome Sinu Jain ma'am, and also I'd like to welcome our students and faculty members in various departments for this uh, innovation and design thinking workshops. So before that, before start, I would like to introduce our eminent personality, our guest, Dr. Sinu Jain. He's the associate professor in marketing chair and Center for Innovation Incubation and Entrepreneurship, and also chair marketing and communications in IHMR University. She has worked for the short stint with the Jaipur Group as Assistant General Manager and Marketing Communications. Prior to this, she was faculty in the area of marketing and entrepreneurship in Jaipur Institute of Management, Jaipur. She has over the 15 years of experience in academic, consulting, startup training program, and digital marketing, student mentorship. She has earned her PhD in green marketing. She holds a multidisciplinary master degree in MBA marketing, MCOM, MSc Applied Psychology. So various postgraduate holder she has. She headed a Center for the Entrepreneurship and Innovation as a young management scholar of IIM Calcutta for about 3 years. She is also ISB Hyderabad certified entrepreneurship educator. She has been selected by a Goldman Sachs and London Business School among 10,000 women entrepreneur program. She is also a certified master trainer from the Bhagwani Foundation on Entrepreneurship Education and Marketing Tools. She has closely worked with the Ministry of Northeast, CAA, Indian Chamber of Commerce on various joint programs. She has to her credit more than 30 papers published in various reference journals at national level and international level. And she has attended many national and international conference, seminars, and workshops. She's represented various national and international forums like ICRC, Partnership Permit, a Roundtable Conference. She has also created the fourth edited book, and she has enjoyed the numerous positions of the responsibility in various capacities. She is a recipient of numerous meritorious awards throughout her academic career. He is also the recipient of Young Achiever Award, Samaj Gaurav Award, and a competent writer to work as a freelancer with the Times of India and Tribune, the Statesman, DNA Academy, etc. She has recently released the book for the demonetization and digital economy. Then her area of interest include understanding the consumer mind and green marketing, digital marketing, retail management, and analytics. So she is have a good profile. It's a huge profile. It's not a, it's a huge profile. She has. She's an eminent personality. On behalf of Ratnam Group of Institutions, once again, I would like to welcome ma'am. Thank you for accepting our invitations. Okay,
Thank you
please
so
take
much.
over the session.
Thank you
Please
so
take
much,
over the session.
Professor. I mean, it was such an humble and long introduction. I don't think I deserve it this much. But thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really glad and excited to be part of, this August
Yes, ma'am.
gathering.
Everyone know. So everyone know about you, ma'am. So how much potential you have, everyone they should know that. That's important.
Can I just share my screen?
Sure.
Are you able to see the presentation? Sir, can you see the presentation?
No, ma'am. It's Windows it will open. Not presentation. Your Windows it will open.
Just a second. Can you see it now?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So shall we start, sir?
Yeah. Sure, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. So today we're going to talk about design thinking. I mean, you must be wondering what design thinking is all about. Can you really design your thinking? I mean, we think our brain works the way it wants to work scientifically, but is there any logic in terms of that? Yes, we can design our thinking and, plan it the way we want to do it. So this is going to be an interesting conversation for next 40 minutes or so. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in between and stop me in between. I'm perfectly fine with it. Or if you want at the end, you can put it in the chat box and we'll discuss it. So the $1,000,000 question is, what is design thinking? It's basically, design thinking means it's there in your mindset that allow you to innovate in a meaningful way so that you're trying to do something differently. It's very simple. When you see a lift into a shopping mall or in a hospital or in a big building, many times we are confused. Say if you are at 7th floor, you're not, and you want to go upstairs, and many times you press the down arrow key. Or many times you're confused that you want to go downstairs and you press the up arrow key, assuming that you are at this floor. So design thinking basically says that let's innovate. Let's make those changes that we do routinely and make it happen this way that it makes our life more meaningful. It makes our problems more resolvable. That's what design thinking is all about. So design thinking is not something which has only been used by people into design institutes or, who are more into creativity, art, it is not restricted to any field. Engineer, teacher, entrepreneur, doctor, any professional for that matter can apply design thinking. Design thinking basically is a method where you can solve a particular problem which you face. I'll give you a very classic example. Lot of people take, let's say if I'm diabetic and I have to take medicine thrice a day, I don't remember whether I've taken a medicine or not. All that somebody did wonderful for me is they created those strips where it is written, or the medicine box where it is written Monday to Sunday, and then morning, afternoon and evening. So I put my medicines in the box at the beginning of the month, and then I know, okay, Monday morning I've taken, the box becomes empty. Similarly, so it's design thinking, which helps my problem that I tend to forget whether I've taken a medicine or not. With this help of medicine box, I can understand, okay, I have taken the medicine and my problem is resolved. The pharma companies have moved one step ahead and they started putting this on the strips only, where it's been clearly written, okay, evening, morning, twice a day, whatever, So based on various medicines which has been routinely used by people, they did something. That's called design thinking. You know, you realize that what has to be done, it is not just about visualization. It is about how it's going to look, how you're going to feel about it, how it's going to work for you into a different situation. So basically solving a complex problem, solve a complex, condition and making it very, very simple. It results in creation of something new. It could be a product, it could be a process, or it could be service. We keep on hearing from people often that, that's how we do it. This is the way things work for us. You know, most of the time we hear such terms. So design thinking talks about just making changes into it, making iterations into it. It is about getting into somebody else's shoes, understand their problem and come up with a product. Just imagine we are using an online platform. I'm sitting some thousands of kilometers away from you and able to connect with you. That's design thinking. A product which got created, which is connected to people on a virtual platform. That's design thinking. So it could be product, it could be process, it could be services. And that is the innovation that has been brought. Right? So it is more about a power of perspective. There are three things if you look at it, BXT, where we talk about the business, the kind of experience that you're going to provide, and integration of it with technology. That really works. Basically means look at the problem from variety of perspectives, right? We identify the solution. They may not be intuitive when viewed through only one lens. So design thinking says, look at it from all the perspective, look at it from all the angles, look at it from experience, look at it from business, look at it from technology, look at it from multiple angles, and then come forward with a solution, right? When you're looking into it, it has to be desirable, it has to be feasible, and it has to be viable. Whenever you're creating or curating or designing a new product, you have to see that, do your clients really want it? Many times, if you look at it, what car companies do, you have seen in car, there are various models from a base model to a top end model, and base model to top end model, you'll see there is like 5 lakh, 7 lakh price difference. So at every level, the price increases because they've added on another 2 features into it. Say for example, there were 2 airbags in one model, in other model, there are 4 airbags. But the point is, whatever you're adding, do the customers really want it? That's very important. So design thinking says, just do not become very product centric, technology centric, and offer something which is desirable by your client. It has to be feasible, right? Can we conceive of it and build it? If I say, let's manufacture only one pair of shoes, one piece out of a pair of shoes, makes no sense, right? It's not feasible. People will not buy it. Viable, is it suitable from a business perspective, right? Or let's say if I say I want to open a store into an X city and I want to open a Mercedes car showroom, but in that city there are not really many people who are interested to buy a Mercedes car. Is it really a viable option? Or I think about adding on XYZ features to a product, but is it really viable? Is it going to be sustainable? Is people going to buy such products? Or I come up with a product. Say, I'll give you another example of it. There is a brand called Country Delight. You might have heard about it. Country Delight has recently raised a lot of money, and they are penetrating into various parts of the country. So Country Delight is into into selling milk-based products and ghee and a lot of other daily household grocery. So now what has happened, Country Delight here in Rajasthan was doing pretty good in terms of the quality of product. People really appreciate it. Amazing milk, ghee is very good. Their milk products are very nice. But what the stupid thing that they're doing is, they serve you, they say that we serve fresh from the farm. So they say they'll serve you at 4:45 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, if they're targeting to a generation which doesn't wake up before 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, how are you going to serve it, however good your product is? So they've lost a lot of customers from after the initial round of selling. People initially tried their product, loved their product. Still, they're not willing to buy it because they don't find it viable. That every day they need to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and Country Delight is not willing to change this. So many times you need to see, you have to apply design thinking and understand where the problem lies in. Let's look at this, hear this video. Am I audible? This video is audible?
Hello, dear students. Are you a little curious about this lesson?
Yes, ma'am, it is audible, ma'am.
Okay.
So let's get started. When someone says design, what is the first thing you imagine? Clothes, shoes, laptops, smartphones? Oh, now that has made me think about shops and malls. If you have also started dreaming, please come back. So, coming back to our question, has design only got to do with something you can see and hold? Is it only about how something looks? Is it only about beautiful things? If you imagine things that look beautiful, you are indeed right. But wait, you're only partially right. Design is more than how something looks. And surprise, surprise, it also applies to things you may not see and may not be able to touch. Are you thinking, how is that possible? Well, it is possible, and it is exactly what we will discover in the next few minutes. For instance, suppose you have to catch a bus to college every morning at 9 a.m. and before you do that, you have to do a number of things. Exercise in the morning, take your dog out for a walk, that is if you have one, help your mother in the kitchen, and maybe go out to the market to buy milk. All this takes a lot of your time, and then you have to get dressed, which you do in a hurry. After all that, you run to the bus stop and oh no, you just missed that bus again. Now, suppose one day you decide to sit down and replan your morning routine. You ask your younger brother and sister to take on some tasks, you complete some tasks the previous evening, or you combine a few. Say, take your dog out for a walk and buy milk. Then you test out the new plan and wow, you find that it works. By replanning, you have solved the getting late problem. And here is a surprise for you. This is exactly what design thinking is all about. This is the simplest example of design thinking. You see, design thinking is not something that only creative people like visual designers and fashion designers do. It is something that all of us do, you and me, all the time. Only that we're not doing it as a formal process and we may not be aware we are doing it. Basically, when you analyze a problem and think of a solution, what you're doing is design thinking. Now that we have understood design thinking with a simple example, let us understand it as a subject to be studied, as a formal process to be applied. So let us look at what the subject of design thinking is and what it isn't. 1. Design thinking is a process that you can apply to solve problems that people face, or you can apply it to create something that people want or need. You can even apply it to redesign or improve a process. For example, a small car that is affordable to people who buy scooters. 2. Anyone can apply design thinking. Students, teachers, working professionals, businessmen, yes, anyone. For example, a hospital may design a system that gives appointments and sends follow-ups for patients. 3. Design is not about how something looks, it is about how things look and feel and work. You can create new products by applying design thinking. You can also design new processes or redesign existing processes by applying design thinking. For example, we could apply design thinking to redesign how one gets a driving license so that people do not misuse the system. To sum up, I hope that when you hear design, you will understand it in a deeper sense and not as something that only looks beautiful.
Right. So when we looked at it, it's very simply explained that design is not about beautiful or creativity. Design thinking is articulating your thoughts in such a way that it solves a problem. Very beautifully explained. How can I change my routine so that I don't face that problem every day? So you see a particular problem and you apply design thinking principles to it to see that how these problems can be resolved in a very, very simplistic manner, right? That's what design thinking is all about. So when you say, let's say, I mean, look at our own mobile phones, how mobile phone is used today and for how many purpose you are using your mobile phone. Are you using your mobile phone only for making phone calls? Anyone would like to comment? How are you using your mobile phones? Are you using your mobile phones for what purpose? Would you like to comment? No? Anyone? What are the different things for which you use your mobile phone today? You use it for music, use it for camera, use it for calling, use it for record keeping, you use it using it like a laptop for doing your office work. So just imagine one device which is helping you to do multiple things. So somebody applied design thinking principles here and said, no, you don't need to keep, you don't need to keep a camera separately. Why don't we have an inbuilt camera? And so now you have a front camera as well as you have back camera. Then somebody thought, no, the mobile cameras doesn't give that good quality photographs resolution. Let us have something better. So then slowly, now you see the mobile cameras resolution have been improved. Look at music. Or for example, Kindle, you can do book reading. So it's like one device which actually encompasses 5, 7, 8 other types of products into it. That's design thinking. So you kept on redesigning the product until it looked a product which has been required and loved by everybody, right? And that's how the principles of design thinking get applicable. So what are the principles of design thinking? Design thinking primarily talks about empathy. Design thinking primarily talks about observation, and it has to be user-centric. I cannot design something which I understand and which is not at all convenient for my users, right? It's very, very important that I design a product which is very, very user-friendly product. Say, for example, I come up with a washing machine and which has very difficult instructions to follow, or somebody made an air fryer and it's very difficult to put something inside it, and there are a lot of technical formalities to be done. That's not a user-centric product. People don't like such products. It's about empathy. You need to put yourself into the user's shoe and understand what is that they are looking for, and it all comes with observation. Lot of people do that. Say, for example, I'll give you an example about Walmart in US. What they do, they basically apply design thinking principles on shopping. So on Friday, they keep the beer and diapers section together. While on Monday, you see both the sections get absolutely separated and distant apart. The logic is very simple. On Friday, there are male members who's buying beer, and they are also wanted to do family shopping because then weekends they are busy. And while on Monday, the ladies are the one who do the shopping. So they would not like to see a beer and diaper being kept together. That's precisely design thinking. And based on these observation and the basket, what product people pick together, the principles of design thinking are applied. If you are doing shopping on Amazon, you will realize that, or you're shopping on Myntra, you'll realize that what you pick in your basket, based on that, there are a lot of suggestions that's been given to you. Also, the suggestions are tailor-made based on the observations of your past shopping history. That's design thinking, right? Look at this again to understand it, the principles of design thinking.
Hello there. Hope that you're all excited. We will learn many new things about design thinking, and you will hear some interesting stories too. But before that, let me ask you a question. There is this word empathy. Do you know what it means? I'm sure you do. But let me just explain it so that all of us understand it in the same way. Empathy means understanding a person and understanding the person's pains and problems. Let me give you an example. Suppose you're in a bus and you are seated comfortably. An elderly lady gets into the bus from a stop and comes and stands near you. In all probability, you will get up and offer her your seat. By doing so, you are displaying empathy. You understand that it is difficult for the lady to stand, you understand her pain, and so you offer her your seat. Are you wondering what empathy has to do with design thinking? Well, it is the main principle of design thinking. The other principles are observation and user-centeredness. Wait. Are you thinking, oh my God, how boring? Again, some more principles. Don't write me off yet, please. I will not bore you with a lecture on these principles. You know what I will do? I will tell you some stories. So here is the first story. It is the year 2001 and the month is October. A new product is launched and the world is taken by surprise. The product is something that fits into your pocket and is set to change the way people store and play music. Can you guess what this product could be? I'm sure you would have guessed. Yes, it is the iPod. It has 50 GB of storage and was the size of the tape that went into a Walkman. And you could download an entire CD into the gadget within 10 seconds. Why was it such a success when it was launched? It was because Apple, the company, empathized with these people who loved music and wanted their music to be with them all the time, wherever they go. This understanding of people's need is empathy. And when you design a product keeping these very needs in mind, the product you create will definitely be user-centric. And that is the second principle of design thinking. User-centric means something that is centered around the user. And here is the second story. It was a rainy day in Bangalore. Ratan Tata, you know the head of the Tata Group? He was traveling in his car when suddenly a scooter turned in front of his car and lost control. A family of 4 who were on the scooter fell on the pavement. Nobody got hurt, but this incident led Ratan Tata to think of making road travel safer for Indian families. And this is how the idea for the nano car was born. So, guys, can you all identify the principle of design thinking in this story? Yes, empathy, user-centeredness. And here is the third principle now. Observation. These very principles brought to the Indian roads a small car called Nano that was affordable for the scooter-owning families. I hope you enjoyed these stories, and here's one last story. And for this story, let us travel to Kenya in Africa because the story is set there. This is the story of Richard Turere. He was an 11-year-old boy then, and at this young age, he was responsible for taking care of his family's cattle. But very often, lions from the neighboring grasslands would attack the cattle. One day, a small observation led him to design a solution for this problem. He had observed that lions were afraid of approaching the farm when someone was carrying a flashlight. You know, a torch. He used this observation to design a light. The light was wired to an old car battery, which in turn was powered by a solar panel. This light flickered on and off and tricked the lions into believing that someone was moving around with a flashlight. So see, what a simple thing such an observation can do. It can spark creativity and innovation in a young boy. So here is the lesson for us. Let's agree to empathize and observe at all times, wherever we are. Who knows, we too may come up with a solution to some problem someday. And with that, I wind up for today.
So, how interestingly she talked about empathy, observation, and user centricity. In fact, many of you who might have been to North India, sometimes you'll see there is something called jugaad, which is a word which has been used by people into rural hinterlands of North India, where they convert a vehicle based on their own requirement and get their things done. Or in Punjab and Haryana, washing machine has been used for churning buttermilk and lassi, right? So it's like how you are using a product to the best of your requirement. A lot of people, they are also use the hair dye to color buffaloes, right? That's design thinking. So how can you use a product based on your requirement? Let me talk about a simple Hollywood story. I'm talking about design thinking. When we talk about design thinking, guys, it's very interesting to see it like a Hollywood story. Means when we watch a movie, the movie starts with something interesting. There's an action. Then after some time, there's a conflict that comes in. Then these people come and meet. There are feelings, there are transformation, and finally it reached to some conclusion. So if you talk about action, the boy meets the girl and falls in love. This is basically, you need to understand about your product, about the service, or whatever you're going to curate. This set is more realistic in nature. It involves specific facts and details, means understanding the product, its potential, its problem. Right? Like setting the background noise and familiar objects to bring the story in life. That's how it starts. Then after some time, you'll find there is a conflict. Boy loses the girl. Means again, you should know is the challenge is most compelling when it focuses on human pain and the unmet needs of the protagonist. Means now you've understood the facts and figures. You have collected that information and now you understand what the challenge lies in. So you need to get into the nitty-gritties of those challenges. Once you do that, you move one step ahead. There is a lot of feelings involved. Boy and sometimes the girl is so miserable. Means there are a lot of emotional state and point of view of the characters or the problem. Say for example, you are on a smoke-free less zone. There is no smoking allowed, and then there is someone who'll say, no, I have to smoke somehow. I just can't live without smoking. Now this is a problem. So there is an emotional, and this is that someone who is very senior. You just can't do anything about it. So sometimes these sort of things also arise during the way, right? And these are the main characters. So they pull the audience and make them feel more connected. And then design thinking also talks about bringing transformation. Means boy change and win the girls back. Means you understood the problem, you worked on the problem, you processed it, and you're trying to solve it. So where you get to be the superhero and solve the problem by showing your meaningful solution, which makes life better. And finally, they live happily ever after as well-suited partners. So the solution is very, very encouraging and always, helpful for these people. That's how I think the design thinking looks like in Hollywood story. So which has of course, an action and then happy ending. In between, there are sets of problems which is there. So if we talk about process, the first stage says you had to empathize. That's what we understood. That learn about the audience for whom you are designing by observation and conducting interviews. Right? Who is my user? What matters to this person? Right? Whenever you're designing something, you need to understand. Say, for example, I design a beautiful kurta which has lot of, fancy design over it, and I'm designing it for an old lady. Probably I'm doing a wrong thing. However beautiful is my kurti, that old lady is not going to wear it because it's not meant for her. So I need to understand what I'm designing has to also match with the requirement of that particular user. Then define. Define means create a point of view based on the user's needs and insight. Try and very much sketch it. That is why whenever you're doing, let's say you're doing a case analysis or you go to a client, or even for that matter, you go to shopkeeper, what is the first thing he does it? He asks you, what are your requirements? You go to buy a car. He asks you, what are your requirements? Or you go to buy a flat. He asks you, what are your requirements? What are your needs? And based on that, he's going to give you a palette to choose from. Then comes ideate. Brainstorm and come with as many creative solutions as possible. Wild ideas are encouraged. Especially when we talk about the business journey and design thinking, we say that have as many ideas as possible. Don't stop ideas. Don't try to be judgmental about idea. That this idea is going to work and this is not going to work. Don't just think about it. Give your 100%, let the ideas flow, because you never know which idea is going to work, right? After that, follow the iterations and work on those ideas, but at least in the beginning, let the ideas free flow, and then follow a funnel approach. Funnel is like, on top there is many, and then on bottom you'll see it's becoming smaller. So the filter applies there. Then it also says that build a prototype, build a representation of one or more of your ideas to show to others, so that people can look at it, and then people can, based on that, take a call of it, right? And test, share your prototype idea with the original user for feedback. It's very important whenever for product, process, services, you are designing, take the feedback of the people. So it starts from empathizing, defining the problem, ideating, building a prototype, and finally testing the product. And then you go back. So this is how the circle flows. So design thinking, basically, if you look at it, the thread is all struggling, the thread, it is all makes thread difficult to open it. But when you ideate, build a prototype and come up with a solution, it becomes an open thread. It is solved. The problem is resolved, right? So design thinking says that move from a problem space to the solution space. Jaipur foot is quite popular. I hope many of you might have heard about it. There's this famous dancer, Sudha Chandran, who wears it. She lost her foot, and then Jaipur foot has made an artificial limb for her, and through which even she's able to dance. So just imagine, they've curated a product for a human body, and she's absolutely fine and dancing even with an artificial limb. With the paucity of time, I'll not go with this video, but you just can have a think about it. See, when we're talking about empathy, this is what empathy is all about. A child is crying and you want to understand why he or she is crying so that you can solve the problem. Look at this. This is quite interesting. I'll take a very short video.
The rotary drop door has been developed to be included in the design of platforms from the beginning.
Look at it very carefully.
This assures maximum benefit from the technology in the areas of stiffness and lightness of structure, again rendering an overall increase in vehicle efficiency. In one original design, we were able to demonstrate the feasibility of employing a fixed structural belly pan by establishing new hardpoints from the onset, thus ensuring a normal ground clearance at all times. A further feature on our vehicles is freedom from door dings and the fact that it is virtually impossible to be parked in. You may also have noticed that the exterior mirrors stay in position when the door is opened. This feature allows the occupants to check for oncoming traffic until the last moment before leaving the vehicle. Sometimes the rotary drop door can be a godsend. All of our systems are designed to significantly increase vehicle safety, efficiency, and convenience. Whatever type of vehicle you choose to drive into the 21st century.
Right, this is interesting, disappearing car doors. I mean, we always think that the way we have been doing it is absolutely fine. There's no other change needed. But just imagine they solve this problem of, how these disappearing car doors can solve so many problems. Similarly, this is another prototype about, and people are doing it. Say, for example, umbrella. I think we have been using as one type of umbrella for so many years. All that I see changes in Indian context is the size has been reduced, or they've added a lot of cartoon characters and colors to the umbrella. But there is one peculiar problem with umbrella. Just have a look at this.
And I need to find a solution to it. I was of Casbrella. I'm a professional engineer. Once I see a design problem, it becomes a thorn in my side and I need to find a solution to it. I was sitting at my mother-in-law's house and she walked in with a dripping umbrella and complaining about her floors getting wet. This is something fundamentally wrong with the existing umbrella design. And many other problems that I discovered once I started thinking about this problem with the existing umbrellas. It is in our nature as human beings to improve things. But when I see something wrong in design, I have to work and try to find a solution to it. I sat down and listed the problems that I could see with the existing design. When you walk to your car, you are having to close the umbrella first before you can open the door to get in, exposing yourself to the rain, and you getting in your car with a wet, soggy umbrella, having to handle the wet side of the canopy, dripping water on the floor, opening the umbrella and closing the umbrella in confined spaces. Edison has said it, there's a way to do things better, find it. I believe, as far as umbrellas are concerned, I found a solution. This faulty umbrella design has been with us for 3,000 years, and I think we can do better. And who doesn't want better?
Introducing the Casbrella. The genius of Casbrella lies in how incredibly different the mechanics are from the traditional umbrella, yet still looks identical to it. Without changing the aesthetics of the common umbrella, the Casbrella has been professionally engineered from years of research and design to create a reversed way of thinking. The Casbrella is the world's first reverse folding umbrella that works.
We have got a fully working prototype. We have got the manufacturing process initiated now. I have got a very strong team of people around me. We are ready to go. My ambition now is make the Casbrella totally replace the existing umbrella design.
Right. So if you look at it, you will realize that how a small change in product, all that they did is it become reverse way opened. And small change in product brought so much of change in terms of solving your problem. So it's all about understanding the problem. It's all about empathizing. It's all about concentrating on solution in a way that it leads to resolving those pain points, right? That's what precisely the design thinking is all about. Design thinking asks you to get into the nitty-gritties. Design thinking asks you to observe. Design thinking asks you to understand the problem from anybody's perspective. Take a feedback, get down. You know, that's what this guy did. Went to the car and see how and people are using umbrella, what has to be done. Why it has to be very standard product? Why cannot we bring in change? You might have seen keyboards. For example, earlier there has to be one type of keyboards. The QWERTY keyboard was very, very difficult, and then the touchpads came and the life became very easy. You know, with that keyboard, people were finding it difficult to type. And now with the Google voice assistant, your life has become much easy. So that's what design thinking is. It tells you to open your horizons, broaden your horizon, get into the problem and try and resolve the problem. That's what typically is design thinking all about. It can be applied not just in entrepreneurial journey. It can be applied anywhere that you wish to do in your real life, your personal life, your professional life, anywhere you can apply the principles of design thinking. So I just thought in brief, I'll talk about design thinking and its very, very basic principles. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Dear participants, if you have any questions, raise your hand.
This was quite short, so I don't know whether I'll be able to communicate. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Somebody just raised the hand, Abhinandan. Sorry, Abhinada.
Arvind sir, enable him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, he went offline, sir.
Students, this is a chance to interact with her. Such an eminent personality. She is giving the wonderful presentations. Please clarify your doubt, raise your questions.
I mean, just think about it. Any problem for that, but please go ahead. Soumija, please go ahead.
Ma'am, basically what is
Go ahead. I'm able to hear you.
what is design thinking, ma'am?
What is design thinking? That's what we are talking about. Design thinking is about change in your mindset, observing the problem, observing the pain point, and coming up with a solution that it makes your life much easy. Say, for example, you go into a wedding and, for a dinner, and the plates are too heavy that you are not even able to stand and eat in those plates, right? Somebody come up with a product with lightweight plates. That's design thinking, because he understood that, people are not able to hold the plates for a long time when they're standing in the wedding dinner and, eating. That's design thinking. Means just get into the nitty-gritties of problem and solve these problems using various methods. So the principle says that you need to empathize, you need to understand, you need to observe and come up with a solution. There's nothing rocket science. Design thinking is not about art and craft or, creativity. It is about solving the people's problem by observing, by redesigning the product, process, or services.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let's say someone designed an eatable crockery. What is the eatable crockery? People saw there is a lot of pollution going on. A lot of things get wasted. So if you look at ice cream cones, that's an eatable crockery, that you eat the ice cream and you also eat the cone. There's nothing get wasted, right? So come up with the products and solutions that makes people's life easy. That's design thinking, and it's quite popular these days.
Ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you had received the many awards, rewards. Okay, who is your inspiration? How to self-motivate yourself?
How to self-motivate myself is, in marketing terminology, we always talk about targets, right? And benchmark.
Yes.
So I have a very small principle. I feel that I have to do a goal setting for myself. If you don't have goal, you will not be able to achieve it. But it's not necessary that whatever goal you make, you'll be able to achieve it. I put it in very simple words. Let's say I'm residing in Jaipur and I want to go to Kerala, right? And I decided to travel by Rajdhani Express. If I buy a ticket to, Tiruvananthapuram, then only I can reach Thiruvananthapuram. But if I buy a ticket to, let's say, Mumbai, and I assume that I'll reach to Thiruvananthapuram, I cannot. So it's very important that you do a goal setting for yourself and then you figure out, okay, it might be possible that I buy a ticket to Thiruvananthapuram, but I may drop down at Mumbai halfway. But it cannot be other way around. It's very important that set a goal for yourself, have a good benchmark for yourself and keep on achieving. Don't compete against anybody because we all are limited edition. We know our own capabilities. We all know our own strengths. All that we need to do is go deeper inside ourselves and find ourselves. It's like swim in your own world and see how much you know how to swim. You have to dig out and figure out who you are and work on those potential. Identify yourself. Keep on following and chasing your goals. See dreams and follow them. That's very, very important, I think. That really works in life.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Dear participants, if you have any queries, any questions, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we conclude our sessions.
Even after the session, anyone wants to connect and reach out, please join me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to
Sure,
answer
definitely.
any queries. We'll be happy to
Definitely.
do that.
Anyway, ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for accepting our invitation
My
and give a wonderful
pleasure.
session.
I
Our
was able to
session,
contribute
you give
something.
plenty of videos. Videos are very superb one. Okay, definitely students, they can able to observe their design thinking skills and how to innovatively thinking. So everything they can observe. I hope it. So once again, the Rathinam Group of Institutions, I'd like to thank for the given the wonderful session, ma'am. And also I'd like to thank our management and CEO sir and principal sir and deans from science and commerce and research and development and head of the departments in various courses and also faculty members and students. Once again, I'd like to thank for this joining this program. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
so
for
much.
joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.